So today I feel very honored again to participate with this global Zoomacram of Sri Navadvip Dham Parikrama. Thank you to all the hosts, to Yashodanandan Prabhu. It's a very glorious endeavor. So today we're hearing a little bit about the glories of Antardvip Mayapur, especially the Samadhi Stali of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada. We are in the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sarasvat Sampradaya. So within the line of Gaudiyas of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we are following Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. And we're going to hear about his Samadhi Stali in Chaitanya Mat, or in Antardvip. Also about that special place he established of Chaitanya Mat and the Gaudiya Mat centers, established from there all around the world. First, to give a little background, when Sri Krishna concluded his pastimes on this earth, and he went back to his transcendental abode, one day he was seen there to be a little bit morose, and Vishaka Devi asked him, "Why are you lamenting?" And he said, "When I came to that world, I wanted to show the glories of what is pure love, what is prem. And yet many people began to criticize the Braja Gopis, saying that you are immoral, unchaste, and so forth. I cannot tolerate this criticism of my dear beloved associates." So he determined he would go again. There are many reasons for the descent of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We hear from the Vaishnavas and Srila Guru and Vaishnavas that this is one reason Krishna wanted to establish the glories of the Braja Gopis, and that their prem is immaculate and pure. Nirmal Bhaskar, the Chaitanya Charitamrita describes that the Gopis' prem is completely spotlessly pure. Even just the other day, some people were asking, "Oh, why are the Gopis this and that?" So Mahaprabhu especially came to establish the glories of the Braja Gopis, and also he wanted to bring others into the service of Srimati Radhika and the Gopis. This is one of Krishna's vows at the time of the Rasa dance, when he said, "Napare ham niravadya samyujam," I cannot repay you for your spotless love. So he thought, I will try, swasadu krityam, I will try to bring the jivas into your eternal service, and thus give them their true auspiciousness. So the gopis also wanted to come. Lalita, Vishaka, Radharani also wanted to come. But Mahaprabhu said, "You must come in male forms." So they agreed, because he said, as gopis, they cannot understand the jivas in this world, because they're so full of anarthas, lust, greed, madness. Then kama vyakti kamaya jagat. A lusty person sees others the same way. A thief sees others as thieves. So he said, you should come as in male forms, and you can become preachers of this proper dharma. And Krishna also requested Radharani for her anga kanti, her complexion, her moods. And he said, unless I become a devotee, I cannot teach others devotion. In other incarnations, I would kill the demons. But in this incarnation as Sachinandan Gaur Hari, I will not kill anyone. Instead, I will give them Krishna Prem. So we hear these pastimes. We also hear Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describe how Radharani had the dream of Sachinandan Gaur Hari. Srila Gurudev would tell this story. Radharani had this dream of this beautiful golden-formed Brahmin sannyasi who was dancing ecstatically. And she woke and asked Krishna, "Who is this?" And he very shyly smiled and said, "Oh, this is my coming incarnation as Sachinandan Gaur Hari. I am praying to you, please give me your anga kanti, your mood and your complexion." So in this way, Sri Sachinandan Gaur Hari appeared in Antardvip Mayapur. Radharani also came to this place. We know she came as Gadadhar Pandit, but also she comes in a very hidden way, and she presides over this Mayapur Dham Antardvip, and she appears through her manifestation of Bhakti Devi as Atmani Vedanam, full self-surrender. Radharani comes, Lalita Vishaka, all the Sakhis come, and in this way the 9 islands are the place of Radharani and the 8 Sakhis. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada's Samadhi is in Antardvip Mayapur. Bhaktivinoda Thakur established Mayapur. Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj established Mahaprabhu's birthplace as Mayapur. And then Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada established the Chaitanya Mat there. That is the original Mat. So we all pray Akanda Mat Raj. The king of all Mats is Chaitanya Mat. This is in Mayapur Dham. All other centers are coming from this original Yoga Pit. Just like in Braj there is Yoga Pit, the central place of Radhakrishna's Leela. In Navadvip Dham, the central place of Gauranga Mahaprabhu's Leela is Yoga Pit, Mayapur Dham. So Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada established this Yoga Pit. He established Chaitanya Mat, and he began to preach the glories. At that place in Mayapur, he chanted 1 billion names of the Mahamantra, meaning he chanted 1 billion names while chanting Mahamantra. It took like 9 years almost. Every day, 3 lakh Harinam. After that, Mahaprabhu, during that time, Mahaprabhu, the entire Guru Parampara came and said, you must preach. Pancha Tattva, Jagannathas Babaji Maharaj, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Gorkshadas Babaji Maharaj, all implored him to preach, establish Gaudiya Math, establish Braj Patan. So Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada very quickly began to preach very widely. He became like the moon, surrounded by so many stars of so many illustrious disciples. So then very quickly established 64 mutts, meaning spiritual places of training and also preaching. He said this is the hospital for the jivas, the real hospital. He said that it is more compassionate to save one living entity from the jailhouse of Maya by opening these hospitals or the Gaudiya Math. There everyone can come and become purified of the disease of material existence and go to the transcendental abode. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada established these mutts. And he preached everywhere very powerfully. And he sent Swami Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, to preach in the Western countries. He also sent other sannyasis to preach in the Western countries. So it was his function to fulfill the desire of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu said, Pritivityache jatanagar adigram sarvatra prachar hoibe moranam. Mahaprabhu said, my names, my glories will be spread all over the world. Bhaktivinoda Thakur similarly predicted. So Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada was the root of manifesting this desire of Mahaprabhu. He was like the moon and so many stars surrounded, like Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti Dayat Madhav Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, and so many illustrious disciples of his preached very powerfully. So one thing I want to mention is, who is Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada? Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada is, in the spiritual realm of Brajadam, he is none other than Srimati Radhika's dear maidservant, Nayana Mani Manjari. Our acharyas established this. Therefore, we can understand this. His name is Barsha Banavi Devi Daita Das. In this world, he also would sign his different writings, Barsha Banavi Devi Daita Das. This name was given to him by Srila Gorkshadas Babaji Maharaj, his Diksha Guru. And so this means he is Radha Paksha. He is more inclined to Srimati Radhika's service. Therefore, he is Barsha Banavi Devi Daita Das. He is the servant of the beloved of Srimati Radhika. He is not the servant of Krishna, who is the beloved of Radhika. He is servant of Barsha Banavi Devi Daita, the beloved of Srimati Radhika, showing that Srimati Radhika, Radha Paksha, being partial to Srimati Radhika, is prominent in his mood. Therefore, Bhaktivinoda Thakur would sing, Radha Paksha Chadi Jejana Sejan Jebave Se Bhavi Thake Amito Radhika Paksha Padi Sada Kabu Nahi Heri Taki. I am always partial to the service of Srimati Radhika. But how did he do that? He established the Chaitanya Math. He established Braj Patan. Braj Patan is in Mayapur, Antardweep. It means a branch office of Brajadam, like an embassy. And he and all the acharyas are ambassadors of the culture of Braja Bhakti and Srimati Radhika's service. Through Srimati Radhika, we serve Sri Krishna. So this is one of the specialities of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada. It is from Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada that all Gaudiya Acharyas, they sing Shri Rupa Manjari Pada, like I mentioned yesterday. Where do we get this from? From Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada's line. When Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada was entering Nitya Lila, he requested Gurudev to sing Shri Rupa Manjari Pada. When Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada was leaving, he requested Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj to sing Shri Rupa Manjari Pada, establishing that we are Radha Paksha in the line of Lalita Sakhi and Shri Rupa Manjari, Shri Rupa Goswami, and Swarup Damodar. So this is something that's very important to remember. He is Radha Paksha. And therefore in Chaitanya Math, he established, when you go there to Mayapur, you will see, he established Radha Kund, Sham Kund. And we can all take Achman there. He established Giriraj Govardhan. So this is how he established the Jiva's connection to the eternal world, by saying, you must come to Braj anyhow and take shelter of the Vaishnavas. So therefore he established Giriraj Govardhan, Radha Kund, Sham Kund. And he said, anyhow, try to take shelter of Shri Braj. One thing I also wanted to mention is showing the importance of this mood, that all of our Sambandha Abhideya Prayojan, knowledge of our relationship, the process and the goal to achieve Krishna Prem, the ultimate goal, it's all connected to this idea of Braja Bhakti Ras. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavitamati. This is the reason also for Swami Prabhupada's establishment of ISKCON, International Society of Krishna Consciousness. This is Krishna Bhakti Rasa. And this is the property of the Braja Gopis, especially Srimati Radhika. They are those who completely are one-pointed in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita, Man mana bhavan mad bhakto, Gurudev would say, absorb your mind in Krishna like the Braja Gopis. This is in Srila Gurudev's Granthas, Nectar of Govinda Lila. The gopis are man mana bhavat mad bhakto. They are the most one-pointed. Therefore, take shelter of those Braja gopis. And Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada is none other than Srimati Radhika's dear Kinkari, Palyadasi. So we should not lose this. Now, one thing to say is, at the same time as understanding this thing, we should not make this process cheap. We must follow the step-by-step process to attain this high level of attainment, which is Radha Dasyam in Krishna Prem, the eternal service of Sri Krishna by serving Srimati Radhika. So therefore, he delineated a very strict, a very important guidelines. Daivi Vanashram, how to properly follow sadhan bhakti in our lives. You should not imitate Krishna and the gopis. You should very sincerely follow the process of sadhana, serving Guru Maharaj, hearing Harikatha, Vikritatam Prajavaduviridam cha Vishnu Shradanvito Anasuyad Atavarnayadyat Bhakting Parang Bhagavati Pratilabhyakamam Hridrogamaswa Pinoti Achirena Dira. You must hear with faith from Guru and Vaishnavas and then practice this in your life. Therefore, you establish Daivi Vanashram Dharma, not ordinary material Vanashram Dharma, transcendental service to Sri Krishna by following according to your qualification in this life. Because Mahaprabhu said, I am not a Brahmin, I am not a Kshatriya, I am not a Vaishya, Sudra, I am not a sannyasi, Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha. I am only the servant of the servant, Gopi, Bhartu, Padakamalayur, Dasa, Dasanu, Dasa. I am merely the servant of the servant of the servant of that Krishna, the beloved of the gopis. This is our goal, this is our attainment. But he gave it in a very rigorous process. You can see in the Gaudiya Math tradition how strictly and seriously they follow sadhana bhakti, following the example of the Goswamis, every day chanting Harinam, every day following sadhana, no imitation. The Gaudiya Vaishnavas had gotten a very ill repute because of not properly following sadhana and vairagya as shown by the Goswamis, only imitation, sahajiyism. So Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada said, you want to achieve Radharani's service, Krishna's service, you must follow very serious, strict sadhana bhakti. This is the same thing shown by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. In the beginning of his magnum opus, Jaiva Dharma, Bhaktivinoda Thakur showed, in the first chapter, Sannyasi Thakur listening to Prem Das Babaji Maharaj. Prem Das Babaji Maharaj in a state of bhav said, you are Ramana Manjari, this is your seva to Radharani. He gave him that in the first chapter because he was a Paramahamsa ready for it. But then the rest of the Jaiva Dharma, he shows the very gradual process, Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojana, Dasamula Tattva. These are all the philosophical truths. This is the spiritual practice you must follow. So these things, at one side we show the goal, on the other side we have to show the very gradual process to attainment. To attain it, Gurudev would say, do not try to jump to the top of the tree to collect the mango. You must climb up gradually under guidance. So I'll just conclude with a very beautiful remembrance of how Param Gurudev Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj, every year when he would go to Mayapur Dham, to the Samadhi place of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, he would try to speak the glories of Prabhupada, but his voice would choke up simply saying Prabhu. He would not even be able to complete Prabhupada. And he would break down weeping uncontrollably. Such was his devotion or Guru Bhakti. Without Guru Bhakti, devotion to Guru, we have no chance of progressing in spiritual life. Gurudev would tell us so many times, Yasya deve para bhakti yatha deve tatha guru. You must have the same equal devotion to your Guru as to Sri Krishna. Then you can progress. So Param Gurudev had this very strong mamata, possessive love for his Guru Pada Padma. And he was constantly remembering him. And he gave the same mood to Srila Gurudev. Our Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, when he first joined the mat, we hear from all his sevaks. Param Gurudev once asked him to speak the glories of Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada. And he spoke so beautifully. Some of his other disciples say, you did not meet him, you speak like you know him. He said, I know him from the ear. I heard from my Gurudev, and therefore I know him very closely. So this is the importance of this process of hearing. Gurudev once spoke so nicely on Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada's glories at Caitanya Mat. In the time of Param Gurudev, all the senior disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada were there, and they all applauded, saying, now we have faith. Someone will carry on this line properly, following the proper sadhana, the proper maryada, etiquette, but also not hiding or not, keeping that treasure of Krishna Prem and Radha Dasyam hidden. Someone must be there to distribute this divine treasure. So Srila Gurudev distributed this divine treasure to the world and also showed us very excellently how to follow sadhana in our life. So therefore we pray to Srila Gurudev and we pray to Param Gurudev, we pray to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. May we develop Guru Bhakti in this life. If in this life we can develop Guru Bhakti, we should understand our life will be successful. May that mood in Gurudev's heart come into my heart. May attachment to Gurudev's lotus feet come into my heart. May Gurudev's words and teachings come into my heart. I desire nothing else. Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kripasindhuve vacha patitanang pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, everybody.